long ago, beyond the places where maps grow vague and roads forget their names. There existed a valley that very few people ever reached. It was called the Quiet Valley, not because nothing lived there, and not because silence ruled it completely, but because everything within it moved gently, as if the world itself had learned how to rest. The wind passed softly through the grass. The river flowed without hurry. Even the stars above seemed to shine more patiently. At the edge of this valley stood a small wooden house, old but well cared for, with a single window that glowed warmly every evening at the same moment. And inside that house lived an old man, known only as the Lantern Keeper. No one remembered his real name anymore. Some believed he had forgotten it himself. Others said he had given it away long ago, in exchange for something far more important. Every evening, just as the sun dipped below the hills and the sky softened into deep shades of blue, the Lantern Keeper stepped outside his home with a lantern in his hand. It was not an ordinary lantern. Its light did not flicker or flare. Instead, it glowed slowly, rhythmically, as if it were breathing. The light was neither bright nor dim, but perfectly calm. The kind of light that does not demand attention, yet gently invites it. With this lantern, the Lantern Keeper walked the same path every night. He moved down the narrow trail that curved through tall grass, past an old oak tree that leaned as if listening, and along the river, where fireflies hovered like drifting thoughts. Wherever the lantern's light touched, the world seemed to relax. Stones settled more comfortably into the earth. Leaves stopped trembling. The river's surface smoothed, reflecting the sky like a quiet mirror. What few understood was that the lantern helped the valley sleep. Not just creatures and plants, but memories, worries, and restless thoughts that lingered after sunset. The Lantern Keeper did not force rest upon anything. He simply reminded the world how to let go. He walked slowly because haste would disturb the light. He breathed evenly because the lantern followed his breath. He carried gentle thoughts because the lantern reflected what lived in the heart of the one who held it. For many years, this was enough. Until one evening, something changed. As the Lantern Keeper reached the bend in the path near the river, the lantern flickered. Just once, he stopped walking. The lantern had never flickered before. The old man lowered it slightly and listened, not with his ears, but with the deep attention that comes only after a long life of listening. The valley felt unsettled, not loud, not dangerous, just slightly out of balance, like a deep breath held for too long. Far beyond the hills, something was awake that should have been resting. The Lantern Keeper did not rush forward. He never did. Instead, he sat on a smooth stone by the river, placed the lantern beside him, and waited. Because when rest is disturbed, rushing only creates more noise. After a while, footsteps appeared on the path. Small footsteps, careful, uneven, tired. A child stepped out of the shadows. She could not have been older than 10, wrapped in a thin cloak, her face pale beneath the moonlight. Her eyes were wide, not with fear, but with exhaustion. "I can't sleep," she said quietly, as if admitting something important. The Lantern Keeper nodded. "Yes," he replied. "I know." The child sat beside him without waiting for permission. Her gaze fixed on the lantern, drawn to its slow, steady glow. "It's too loud," she whispered.
"What is?"
he asked gently. "Everything inside my head." The lantern warmed slightly.
"You've walked far,"
the Lantern Keeper said. She nodded again. "I thought if I kept walking, my thoughts would get tired too. But they didn't." He smiled softly. Thoughts don't get tired by running, he said. They rest when they feel safe enough to stop. He lifted the lantern and stood. Would you like to walk with me? The child hesitated, then nodded. They walked together along the path, their steps slow and even. The lantern's light wrapped around them like a soft blanket, not heavy, not warm, but comforting in a way that words cannot explain. As they walked, the child's shoulders lowered. Her breathing slowed. The sharp edges of her thoughts began to soften. I don't remember when it started, she said quietly. One night I just couldn't sleep. And after that, I worried about not sleeping. And then I worried about worrying. The lantern keeper listened. That happens, he said. When the mind forgets that night is not an enemy. They continued walking. The river beside them murmured gently. Not speaking, not silent, simply present. The stars above blinked slowly, unhurried by time. Where are we going? The child asked. Nowhere new, the lantern keeper replied. Only somewhere calm. They reached a small clearing where the grass grew short and soft. In the center stood a stone bench, worn smooth by years of use. The lantern keeper set the lantern down in front of them. Sit, sit, he said. They sat. The lantern's light expanded slightly, creating a circle of quiet around them. Inside that circle, the world felt distant, as if wrapped in cotton. Close your eyes, he said. The child did. Don't try to sleep, he continued. Just rest your thoughts on the light. The child breathed in, then out. At first, her thoughts rushed forward, eager to be heard. But the lantern did not react. It did not judge or chase them away. It simply glowed. Slowly, the thoughts began to lose their urgency. They drifted. They slowed. Some faded completely. The child's breathing deepened. Minutes passed. Or perhaps longer. Time moved differently inside the circle of light. When the lantern keeper finally spoke again, his voice was barely more than a whisper. Sleep is not something you must catch, he said. It comes when you stop chasing it. The child did not answer. She was already asleep. The lantern keeper smiled, gently lifted the lantern, and watched as the light adjusted, dimming just enough to cradle her rest. When morning came, the child would wake refreshed, with only a faint memory of warmth and calm. She would return home, carrying the quiet inside her, even if she did not understand where it came from. The lantern keeper stood and continued his walk. The lantern no longer flickered. The valley breathed out. And somewhere far away, another restless mind began to soften, unaware that a quiet light was already on its way. The lantern keeper walked on, as he always had, and as he always would, not to end the night, but to help the world remember how to rest.